everybody, it's McGann, and today I'm going to expand a little bit on a video that I'm taking a little to the side of Danny Quinzel, who was talking about dating sites and why your profile is not getting any results. And I've got notes here, I've got a lot of notes, so when you see my eyes go down here, that's me referencing. Sorry, not trying to be cold and distant and rude, as some people I'm sure have commented in the past. But okay, here's some reasons why your profile is not getting the response that you might not want it to. And the top issue, I think, is that men will say anything that they think a woman wants to hear. One of my favorite examples, and this happened to me years ago, but when I was the first time on a dating site when I was 21, I think, maybe 22, I had a 70-year-old man, at least 70. He might have been 80 for all I could tell from the information that was given. His age was not disclosed by the photos. But I mean, this man was basically looked like the Crypt Keeper with better skin. He told me this big spiel of all this weird stuff that I can't even remember, but the part that stuck out to me the worst was when he said to me, "And if you think about not replying to me, just remember, the older the berry, the sweeter the juice." And that just gave me this gagging reaction of, I wanted to like wash my eyeballs out after reading that. Okay, and then there was another one where I had a personal ad on, I believe it was like Craigslist, and somebody wrote me, and they were younger than me by several years. I think they were maybe 18. And I was 21, 22, and he was like, well, hey, I'm not really looking for anybody to date, but I just like, some female friends to talk to. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And, we chatted back and forth a little bit. And then after a few emails, I kind of ran out of things to say to him. I'm not going to lie. I mean, we both had the same major, but it was like, it got to be a little stale and boring. So I just kind of stopped replying, and he sent me a message, and I didn't really write back because it was one of those messages where there was just nothing enticing to write back to. There were no questions. There was nothing engaging. There was just, it was basically empty for me. So I kind of ignored the message and didn't write back to it. And then a few days later, he wrote me again, and he sounded a little bit kind of like testy about me not writing back. And I was like, dude, we're not like even trying to go out. I thought we were just talking as like buddies. And then a few weeks after that, he sends me a message after not responding to him again. This was the last dialogue was all in my head. I didn't send that to him. He said, let me get this exactly. "Come on, baby, I just want to take care of you." But it was like, what the fuck? You think saying random shit and whining is going to be attractive to me in some way? But then to like whine and cry about it, it's like, yeah, man, I mean, I wasn't into you at first, but then you were sulking and crying, and it was like, damn, I just couldn't stay off your cock after that happened. No, that doesn't happen. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. Like, girls don't work that way. I mean, hell, at least try to win me over with your sparkling personality. Give me something to work with here. I don't know, it's just ridiculous. And, it comes off to me as being incredibly weak and unattractive when guys start to whine when they don't get their way. And that's why you lose on dating sites, because you don't harass women and you don't finesse them into liking you by being creepy. Just find women that are interested in you to begin with, and you'll be a lot better off. All right, another reason why you might be having trouble dating online or in the real world is because men, you don't pay the fuck attention. Women will sit there and build up these very long, intricate profiles, sometimes spelling out in truth every full detail of their life, and you just go, oh, she looks hot, I'm gonna send her a message and see if we can hook up. All right, now, an example I have like this from my personal life is that I took a class, the history of animation. It was in a really cool building in the Wexner Center at Ohio State, and I sat towards the front like I normally did in all of my classes, but it was like a movie theater in there. And so there were rows and rows and rows of these like theater stadium kind of seating, not really stadium, I don't know the terminology off the top of my head, it's not working for me. But, rows and rows of seats, and this really, really, really hefty guy, and I'd say he had to be at least 400 pounds, came and he got in the same row as me and sat down a couple seats away. And he was really nice. He'd asked me a few times for, like, paper or to borrow a pen or something like that, and I obliged him. I'm not a nasty bitch like that. I'm not going to go, oh, well, I'm not physically attracted to you, so I'm just going to be mean to you. So I was cordial. We had a few very brief conversations about this or that, or he asked me about notes or something, but we never really got in depth about anything. And then, a couple weeks into the class, 4 or 5 weeks in, he added me on Facebook after he looked me up. It's like, all right, fine. And he was chatting with me and some other things, and nothing, again, too out of the ordinary, I guess. And it got to a point, one time in class, we had to leave the theater and go to another theater because of some issue. And so when we're walking from point A to maybe a block, 2 blocks down the road to point B, this guy is so heavy. He's walking, he's pouring with sweat. It's like, I thought this poor guy was going to have a heart attack. And I didn't want to embarrass him, so I didn't really acknowledge it. I don't know. I guess it would have been nicer to ask him if he needed help, but I didn't want to call it out and be like, oh, you look awful. Do you want me to help you? And yeah, I thought that would be embarrassing for him, so I kind of ignored it. And then a couple days later, and this was closer to when the class was ending, he was chatting me up on Facebook again, and, just really casual, out of the blue kind of stuff. And then he goes, oh yeah, I'm applying for this job at some place I can't remember. And I said, oh, that's good for you, I'm happy for you. And he goes, yeah, it's gonna make some serious money, and then maybe I can woo you. I was like, hold on a minute now, where did this come from? Because for one, I never I never felt like I was being flirty or anything with this guy to kind of give him that impression. I was just trying to be nice and friendly to this guy who seemed to not really have a lot of people around him at Ohio State. And somehow that turned into me, or at least him, having some weird infatuation with me. And the real kicker of this is that he always sat near me in class, and I always had a wedding ring on. I don't have it on now, obviously, but I always had a wedding ring on in class, and it's just completely oblivious to it. So that is my personal story for boys. Pay the fuck attention. There are clear signs in a lot of these profiles, a lot of these women, whether you meet them face to face or online, that will tell you if they would be immediately interested in you or not. And I just felt like when he said that he wanted to woo me, and this was the first time that he had openly said, he was crushing on me or whatever, I was thinking, are you kidding me? You don't even know me. We don't know anything about each other other than a few very, casual conversations. And I just wondered, was this poor guy so downtrodden in life that he was ready to pursue anybody that he thought might have the slightest bit of kindness showing in his favor? Or was he just so delusional that he thought that that meant a woman is in love with you, as if she lets you borrow her pen and doesn't say mean things to your face about you? Another big issue for guys that I've noticed is that some of them get crazy desperate, so crazy desperate, they will take anyone or anybody, they don't care. I see it a lot in soldiers, soldiers will meet a girl on Friday and be getting married a week from that Friday, and then having kids a month later. And I never understood the thought process of that. Yes, I am married to a soldier, but we were married before he was a soldier, so it's kind of a way different thing than what I see a lot of other people do. And I'll give you an example again from, back in my dating site days, and this was another Craigslist one if I remember correctly. This guy was a soldier. He was in the reserves, about to go active, and we had 3 really short emails back and forth, and he didn't really seem to have much of a personality, didn't really have much to say, didn't seem like we had much in common, but, he was lonely and he was looking for something serious. That was about all I knew about him. And so after those 3 emails of us having nothing to really talk about, he's pushing really hard for us to meet. And it's not that I was completely opposed to it at that point in my life, but I was just kind of I don't know you at all. There's nothing you're saying to where it's I feel oh, we're clicking. Yeah, I want to meet up with you for coffee or dinner or movies or whatever. It's just, we had nothing. We like completely different music and completely different. He didn't know anything about any kind of movies that I would reference. And just, yeah, we had nothing to talk about for him to want to meet up so fast. And that just came off really abrasive almost to me. And that just came off to me as a really big, desperate turnoff. It's not oh, I like you, I want to be with you. It's, hey, you're a warm body and I want a warm body in my bed. And when I told him, I'm really not there yet, I'm really not comfortable yet because this is Craigslist, I did just meet you and, we're not even hitting it off right away. he got really mad and like really offended about it. Like, oh, I'm not trying to do nothing. I'm not some creep or some pervert. No, I'm not saying you're a creep or a pervert. I'm saying that I have nothing to talk to you about to waste my time with doing this. Another issue, guys, is that you need to man up. And what I mean by that is I don't care if you are the biggest geek of the universe, but I need to see that you are in some way on my level. I think the best guy that I ever met on a dating site, I mean, we hit it off really well. He was really smart and articulate, and he was on paper, we made a perfect match. He was basically everything that I was looking for in a guy. But then on our first phone call, when I felt comfortable enough to give out my phone number, he was really giggly and really like strange, and he goes, "I'm so nervous to talk to you, can you tell?" So I felt like all that potential that we had together, that we could have made a really good couple, it just got taken out back behind the restaurant and shot in front of the dumpster. It was ruined after that. So don't go in front of a woman, "Oh, I'm so nervous to talk to you. I can't believe you're talking to me." You blew it in the interview, dude. I mean, that's basically what happened, is he blew it in the interview. Confidence is a big deal, and if you can't play the game, then maybe you should stay away, because girls, a lot of us do not like projects, we do not like Build-A-Man kits, we do not like people who are completely socially retarded to the point where they can't even function around us. And sure, maybe he could have gotten comfortable around me and everything would have been beautiful, but I couldn't tell you what it is, but psychologically it just killed me completely to hear him say that he was nervous to talk to me when I was so enjoying talking to him that I was excited to talk to him, but I wasn't like, "Oh, I'm afraid, what if he doesn't like me?" I didn't have that kind of a confidence issue. I mean, women do not really want a lapdog who's so eager to please, or someone who wants to just be a toy that's thrown at them. I mean, we want a challenge. We want somebody that feels like, we're equally matched and we're on the same level. We want the same things. We have the same personality types or traits, or, something that just sparks us to be together. Not in, "Oh, I want to be worshipped like a princess." No, I want somebody who's going to keep me on my toes. So confidence, boys, confidence. And I think my biggest issue when I was back on dating sites years ago was that men can be so damn inflexible. And I'm going to try and read this directly because I did write this out in some detail here. You guys get this whole list of what you want of a woman in your head, and it's usually this perfect size 0, sweet, sexy, pouty vixen, and she cooks like Paula Deen and wipes your ass like your mommy. Not to mention someone who is a virgin, but who still has the most killer moves in bed. That woman is fictional. I hate to be the one to break it to you, but you cannot get this whole giant package that's already ready-made and, waiting for you, because if that woman does exist, someone else already snapped her up way before she ever got to a dating site. I promise you that. And do you know what women want? A super hot guy with killer abs, a rockin' hard cock that's good to go all the time, who has lots of money, cooks, cleans, does chores, runs to the store, has a great job, lots of time to spend with her and the kids, and who can fix things around the house without having to be nagged at perpetually. Oh, and no baby mamas or crazy exes hanging around and, making everything weird and dramatic all the time. How many of you is that? Can I see a show of hands? Anybody? Anybody? You know how many of us get that? Almost 0. So if we have to lower our standards to find a guy to be with, so maybe you guys that have these, standards like I listed before should have to lower your expectation to find a realistic woman that would actually want to be with you. Guys, you like to say things that you think women want to hear, but why don't you try honesty out? Because you'd be surprised just how many women that are out there that are not just looking for a husband and kids and the white picket fence and all that bullshit. There are women out there that want a one-night stand just as much as you. There are women out there who are breaking up with their boyfriends and want a rebound guy just like you just want to hook up. So the whole idea of that, "Oh, I need to paint this perfect picture of what I want to lure the woman in so that I can get that one-night stand bang," is kind of stupid. And especially like these guys that'll try and go after even lesbians or married women who are, looking for platonic friendships or looking for other women to date. It's insane. Just be honest with what you want and take what you can get that's in the same ballpark. You don't need to play games with that. That's stupid. And yeah, you might get lucky and confuse a few girls who are just caught up in your whirlwind of lies, but that makes you a shit-licking asshole at the end of the day. And I guarantee you that there are probably women out there who have AIDS, who are on these websites or in these clubs or bars, and they are just dying to find assholes like you to give the AIDS around to some more so that, you know, some asshole gave it to them, all passed along to you. You don't know. You don't know. And you know what? Condoms break. They don't protect against everything. Not to mention the fact that there are women out there who have figured out that after you ejaculate into a condom and throw it in the trash can, you leave the next morning. If they feel like it, they get a little turkey basters, suck out your juice, shoot it up in them, and then you are paying child support the rest of your life because you decided to jump in bed with some emotionally damaged woman. Another thing that always really annoys me on dating sites is the amount of men who will say, no kids, I don't want a woman who has kids, I don't want a woman who has kids, that's a deal breaker for me. And yet they'll have things in their profile that are so like out there, you would think that they would be desperate just to get anybody to date them. A lot of these people that say no kids, they have kids themselves. So it's like, wait a minute, kind of the pot calling the kettle black here, don't you think? And one that I remember that I read, never respond to him, never talked to him, but I saw the profile, is not a bad looking guy, and he says right up front, no kids, no kids, no kids, and then towards the bottom paragraph he says, by the way, I want to be open and upfront and people to accept me for who I am because I have a problem with bedwetting at 27 years old. The fact that you're saying, oh, I have this serious issue that's going to turn a lot of people off and I'm not willing to be flexible with the kind of person I'm interested in. Let me tell you something. If you don't think you can handle kids, fine. That's cool. Maybe you should be upfront about it. But to say exclusively, I would never consider somebody who has kids, that's very close-minded because you don't know like what these women have been through, you know, what people have put them through, and maybe the person that you are such a great match with that you really want to be with has children. Then what? Oh, well, you two are never going to meet because you dismissed her right off the bat. Not saying it's for everybody. I'm just saying try to be less close-minded on things that are with people. Not necessarily saying take on somebody who's going to give you herpes, but you know, children aren't herpes, and having children should not be the equivalent of missing a limb on these dating sites, and yet so often they are. Now, if you feel that you're such a great catch, that that's a standard that you can put up there, that you want this fresh, clean, pure virgin that has had no attachment or children with other men, I mean, fine, maybe you should put that out there, but just saying, you're on a dating site, and there's a reason that you're not married to Megan Fox or Angelina Jolie to begin with. So maybe a little bit of compromise or rethinking that, or at least being open to the idea of it, wouldn't hurt you in the long run. And finally, I think the thing that turns off a lot of women more than anything on dating sites is that men want to show off their cocks like they're sports cars. And how many times, ladies, have you opened up a dating profile or a Craigslist ad or something like that, or it's a personals ad, and there's a picture of somebody's penis in it? It's like, what are we, gay men? Because those are the only people I've ever met who are attracted to ads like that. Most women, unless they are one of the ones who just want a one-night stand and to move on, they don't want to see your cock up front. And, you know, not even within the, you know, first 50 conversations probably do they want to see your cock. I mean, romance a lady. Get her to like you. It shouldn't just be, hey, look, I can swing this thing around like a lasso. Let's get together, baby. Okay, yeah, you know what? If you have a lasso going on, be proud of that shit. But let's keep it tucked away all the same. Like I said, that's how gay men hook up, not men who are seriously seeking relationships. And if that's what you're doing and you're upset that your profile is not getting a lot of hits, I guarantee you that's a big reason why. So, you know, while I feel almost the urge to say thank you for showing me, if that's the foot you're trying to lead in with to, you know, get in the door with a lady, you're doing it wrong. And I don't care how great you think you are in bed, if we don't have two words to say to each other, I'm not interested in you for a relationship. I don't care how good the sex is because, you know, a relationship is really more mental than physical. And so, again, you're doing it wrong. And to the same effect, let's leave our shirts down in the profile pictures because that, hey, look at my six-pack, baby, that's equally not very attractive. If I want a one-night stand, sure, that's what I'm looking for. If I want a boyfriend, no, I don't want somebody who's showing off his cock and abs to every girl on the internet. That's not cool. If you look at the movie Original Sin with Antonio Banderas and Angelina Jolie, they got together through this weird kind of matchup thing where they were pen pals first and then she took a boat down to where he was in Latin America. And he lied about being rich because he didn't want a gold digger, and she lied about being pretty because she didn't want somebody who only wanted her because she was pretty. She wanted somebody that wanted her for her, just like he wanted somebody that wanted him for him. And you know what? Your abs fade away. You know, your cock can shrivel up and look like crap in a couple years, but your personality is something that someone has to deal with for as long as they're with you. So you should lead with that. That would be my suggestion. So if you're showing off your abs, that's kind of just like flashing a wad of cash and saying, you know, come date me. Anybody want to date? You're not going to get the kind of women that you probably want unless you just want to hook up. And guys, really get a good photo of yourself before you get onto these dating sites. A few good photos, actually. I don't care if you have to ask a relative or a friend or some random stranger at the zoo. Don't sit there and do those annoying pictures with the big flash in it from your mirror, or it's all blurry because you can't hold it still while you're trying to look at the camera and look at yourself and push the button all at the same time. And make sure the photo is current, because I don't want to see your high school football star photo if you're 40 years old now. And I also avoid, like the plague, any kind of profiles where it was that real tight crop around a person where it seemed very obvious there was a girl right here before, which was probably their most recent ex-girlfriend. And so that's almost offensive too, because you're like, hey, you want to get with me? Look, the only picture I have to show you is of me with another chick. Hey, even if you crop it out, we still know it's there. We're women. We're always looking. We're always watching. We're always putting like 2 and 2 together and multiplying it and dividing it. That bare minimum effort of just having, you know, a good current photograph of yourself goes a long way with a lot of ladies. So those are my tips for getting somebody to hitch back just to chat. Truly yours, your biggest fan. This is Stan.